Hello, my name is Neal David Sutz. I am the father of Cory and Skyler, two American boys. I am here in Washington, and while this video might seem a little odd, and the website pleasemrpresident.com in and of itself, without looking at it, might seem rather odd, I had to make this short video as an introduction. This video, the website, this fact of my having come to Washington, D.C. after nearly 8 years of fighting for the liberation of my two sons, Cory and Skyler, it's all brought me here to Washington, D.C. at the end. The woke, leftist, radical, lunatics, violent psychopaths have destroyed the Western world. They have taken control of so much, and thank God, President Trump, you are back now, that the admissions are finally coming out clearly. They stole 2020 from you, which I clearly was involved in trying in the European continent to explain to people and to prove to people. I don't want to make this super long. The website explains everything. I will have to use my reading glasses because I'm 54 now, and right behind me there is kind of a speech I wrote to summarize this. As I said, I am the father of Cory and Skyler, and my boys are the world to me. They are everything that matters to me. I have fought and fought and fought within the Geneva, Switzerland legal system for nearly 8 years after an unjustified seizure of my sons, which has nothing to do with Child Protective Services. It never did. I have proven myself with 5 psychiatrists in over 500 hours of psychiatric visits, who all testified to the court system in the canton of Geneva that I am 100% psychiatrically stable. I am not in any way a danger to my sons. I have no mental illness whatsoever. I have no addiction issues, etc., etc. My past lawyers, especially the greatest lawyer, quite frankly, in Switzerland, Thierry Cagenot, proved everything legally on a factual basis, that the initial accusations made against me and my ex, now late wife, Courtney, of negligence and parental conflict were completely false. And what ended up happening, quite frankly, is that we had a snowflake, which turned into a snowball, which turned into an avalanche. And now my sons, Cory and Skyler, who are now 15 and 10, respectively, have been abused, indoctrinated, manipulated, brainwashed, alienated. I had to leave Switzerland in August of 2023 for the simple reason that in Geneva I was being unnecessarily constantly harassed. There was no due process allowed. My lawyers, some of them in different ways than they would admit to, and lots of parents and other children were actually being harassed and threatened by the system in Geneva, Switzerland. I want to make really clear, I'm half Swiss. My mom was Swiss. And I think Switzerland is one of the greatest countries in the world, with some of the most intelligent people, some of the most beautiful, wonderful people. And as you know clearly, Mr. President, Switzerland is an incredibly important country, economically, socially, politically, in relationship to the United States, being our sister republic. My actions, my legal actions to defend my position, my case, and to have my sons returned to me, has never been an action against Switzerland, nor even against the whole canton of Geneva. There have been an enormous amount of people that have come out in support over the last nearly 8 years, as I said, in support of my getting my sons back, including the former chief inspector of the Geneva police, numerous politicians, the former spokesperson for Republicans overseas, and the list goes on and on. Mr. President, now that I'm starting to make this video, I realize there's really no point to look at the speech that's back there that I wrote on my computer. This is for you. For somebody to understand you, of course, You are, without question, the one man on the planet who has been persecuted, prosecuted, and attacked with your family unjustifiably by psychotic, woke, lunatic, corrupt, leftist liberals. They stole the election from you in 2020. And I'm not just saying that, I repeat. I went on Italian national TV and I defended the position of your position, the truth, quite frankly, that the election was stolen, and I showed everything. And that wasn't an attack on the entire country of Switzerland. It was simply an attack on the people there who were involved. My ex-family-in-law, from whom my late ex-wife and I took refuge from Arizona into Geneva, being members of the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, are not a reflection by any means on the entire church, nor on 99.999% of the members who I met when I married Courtney, and I became a member of the church. Most of the people I met, quite frankly, including our bishop in our ward in Gilbert, Arizona, Richard Pospisil, who helped me and Courtney so much, and who couldn't do anything to help our nephew and couldn't do anything to stop the attacks that were going on against our little family of four there. I just want to make that really clear up front before people start looking at the website and seeing me in Washington, D.C. publicly. I've never, and I want to clarify, my standing up for my sons and being litigious and taking our case as high as it could possibly go in Switzerland. And even though the ICC is a complete, pardon me, but a bullshit kangaroo court, even filing a suit for genocide and crimes against humanity against certain individuals in Geneva, Switzerland, is not a reflection on how I feel about Switzerland. It's not a reflection on how I feel about the members of the LDS Church. As you know, Mr. President, in every political group, every religion, every organization, every company, there are good people and there are bad people. And you, by the grace of God, have come back into the White House, are making hardcore, necessary, radical, but not radical in a bad sense, radical in the sense of going for it and doing it, moves that this country and this world need to happen. They need to have these things happen. These changes need to come. And Mr. President, there's a final hearing, if you will, in Geneva, Switzerland, 8 days on February 13th regarding my family, a hearing that I've already lost because the person who makes the decisions, the same child molester, child abuser, alienator, leader of the woke movement in Western Europe based out of Geneva, his name is Eric Amato, is now a judge at the family court. It's a kangaroo court. The hearing is nonsense. Mr. President, I have come to a point now where despite my having proven the case, despite my having proven my psychiatric state being well, despite having the best lawyers in all of Switzerland, except the last one who took 40,000 francs from me and then ended up working for my ex-brother-in-law, which was kind of ironic. I wanted to say that I've come here because with you making the changes you're making in the world and doing everything that you're doing and saving families and saving Americans, I want you to finally know the truth. And you've given our country back in such a short time, even before you were inaugurated, even before you were elected, and you had your representatives, or they were just going around the world and they were trying to make peace and get things set because everybody knew you were going to win. I came here, Mr. President, and I'm humbling myself before you. And if I seem, excuse me, a little emotional, I have had no contact with my boys in a year and a half. The lies continue, the defamation continues, the abuse against my boys, especially the psychological abuse of what they're being told about where I am or where I'm not, that I don't care, that I abandoned them, which is not true. They are two sweet, innocent boys who never deserved to be taken. Before coming here to DC, and I'll close with this, the rest of the information is on the website. And of course, I'll be speaking publicly, as people will see in the next 24 hours. I don't know if this will get on the news. I don't know if it needs to get on the news, but I will be in public in DC and people will see what I'm doing clearly, in support of you, in support of your administration, in support of your agenda. America first before anybody. And yes, there is a deep part of me that is wanting to say to you, and I need to say, whether or not you know it, I ran on a VP independent ticket for 2024, and it wasn't to run against you, it wasn't to knock you. And yes, some journalists at the end who were frustrated along with me were wondering, why didn't anything ever happen under Trump 1.0 to save your family? And we know it was because of the deep state. We know who is involved now. We know that, in my belief, that if you even know who I am and who my sons are, that you were misinformed, that people in your administration misinformed you, people that aren't loyal to you, and that people that are loyal to you, especially somebody like former Ambassador Edward McMullen, who is extremely loyal to you clearly and is still with you clearly this time around, he was misinformed by certain people at the US Embassy. Before I came here to DC, I spent a little while back in Arizona, Maricopa County. I reapplied for my level 1 IVP fingerprint clearance card for another 6 years. I was approved in 10 days. That's on the website. That speaks for itself. That goes against all the accusations that were ever made against me. I had level 1 fingerprint clearance. It expired. It ran from 2014 to 2020. The Swiss never considered that. I put this new information for my new IVP, which was just issued, as I said, on the website with more information to clear that up. The rest of the information is on there. It's in the court files. A lot of the information was in French, so I tried to put on the website what is in English. Mr. President, I implore you, please, Mr. President, take the time, and please do it quickly, with Secretary Rubio, with whomever on your team you need to do it with, and bring Cory and Skyler home to America, to their father. My boys are lost and broken, and it's documented. And the psychopath woke judge and his pedophile friends and colleagues in Geneva, who are all working against you right now. They're having these big political meetings. The Green Party, what are we going to do about Trump? How are we going to stop this? No. They need to stop what they're doing. But in Switzerland, as you very well know, as former Ambassador McMullen very well knows, and as numerous people who are your loyalists who are on your team very well know, there are a lot of people in Switzerland, the SVP, which is the People's Party, also known as the UDC, who are 100% with you. There are people rising up saying enough is enough, and we need to do this. And coming from a family whose father, my father was Jewish, my grandparents were from Białystok, which was Poland, and then it was Russia, then it was Poland, then it was Russia. I'm touched by the fact that you, in the midst of the wars that you have to deal with now that were left in your hands after the last administration started all of them, that you've come up with a good plan and a reasonable plan to solve the chaos in Palestine and to support Israel. And there was a time when I went through thinking, wow, it's a genocide and what's going on, and no. But being back in America, being back in Washington, D.C., seeing the change that's happening. When I was in Tennessee, and I'll tell you this and then I'll shut this video down. When I was in Tennessee, I was driving across country. I took 5.5 days, slept at night, I drove during the day, and I stopped in Texas and New Mexico and Oklahoma and Arkansas and then Tennessee, then Virginia, then into D.C. And when I was in Tennessee, people have a tendency to just open up to me. And I actually ran into a situation where there was an illegal immigrant, and I don't have a formal job in the U.S. government. Clearly, I'm licensed again, as I said, level 1 IVP fingerprint clearance with the Department of Public Safety, which, as you know, is a full lifetime background check for misdemeanors and for felonies of any kind related to safety, security, child protection, and things like that. So I'm clean on that end. So I ran into the situation where this woman actually opened up about her husband, who had had a domestic violence situation against her, which means he beat her, and also a DUI or a DWI, depending on what they call it in that state. And he was an illegal immigrant living there for 10 years, that he's still there and he's hiding. And I'm not outing him particularly, although I'd be happy to give the information on him. I'm just saying what you're doing in this country to change this country is the most important thing. It needs to happen. And despite my momentary lapses in the last few months, of wondering Why didn't somebody tell President Trump the truth? Why did so many people flip on a dime? I know a lot of people were threatened. We have proof of that. I know a lot of people were misinformed. And I know you in particular were misinformed. And I know Ambassador McMullen was misinformed. And I know that I know some things regarding ex-Secretary of State Pompeo's position when this was all going down, and I came to DC in 2019 to try and get help. And he had his Department of State police stop me on the grounds and detain me for 5 hours. I don't want to get into that right now. I just want to say to you, Mr. President, I'm in Georgetown. I'm going to be in DC, and I will be here. I've rented this apartment behind me for this month. And I am praying that, as you have done for so many American people and families around the world, that you will bring my boys back home to me, not to create another CPS situation in America. There's a lot of good that happens in Child Protective Services, and there's a lot of bad. It happens overseas, it happens in America. I'm licensed to work with Child Protective Services, Adult Protective Services, the Department of Developmental Disabilities. I know that for a fact. I know that you're a good person. I know you're the only hope our country and the world have left. And I am humbling myself before you. You are our family's last hope before it's too late for my boys. And regardless of the false narrative about me, regardless of anything, I am with you 100%. I am with your agenda 100%. I will serve at the pleasure of the president. And I truly believe, Mr. President, despite my having been called a megalomaniac, despite you and I, in fact, having been put in an article together as being conspiracy truth tellers, why me, the nobody Neal Sutz, with President Trump in a leftist Swiss newspaper, leftist, hardcore leftist stuff, you, me, Alex Jones, Peter Thiel, Joe Rogan, and a couple of other Americans were put on this list. I know you're the only hope our country has. I know you're the only hope our family has. And I know that despite the importance of the relationship between Switzerland and the United States, and also between Geneva, there's a lot of banking, there's a lot of important things going on in Geneva that people will understand. I'm not after Switzerland. I'm not after the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm not after all of my ex-family-in-law. I'm not after anybody. I am simply in support of my sons coming back to me, and there are a lot of people that back me on this, and the evidence stands by it. Please, Mr. President, I implore you, contact the Swiss Geneva authorities and demand of them, because they will listen to you as everybody else in the world is listening to you, to immediately and unconditionally return my sons to me. I am here, I am at your disposal with what you're doing with cleaning out the FBI, with Kash Patel, and cleaning out the CIA, and cleaning out the US government, and cleaning out the DEI. I believe, and there are a number of people, including Garrett Ziegler, who can tell you, I have a rather analytical brain. I'm not touting my own intelligence, but I have been considered rather intelligent in terms of my analysis ability, my studying ability, my organization ability, despite how many times I'm saying in this video, because I know this video is going to be seen by a lot of people. And I'm speaking directly to the President of the United States in the center of Washington, D.C., the most important city in the world. I believe I could be an asset to your administration. And all I know is that regarding my sons, there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to do. There's no more questions that need to be asked by anybody. There's no more court hearings. There's no more psychiatric studies that need to be done. This all started because of one false letter, one defamation, and the fact that my ex-late wife and I tried to do the right thing by saving our nephew, who was in fact the biological son of an illegal Honduran immigrant who abused him physically and sexually. That was the beginning of his life. I am here. I am grateful for your listening to this. If you can watch this, if anybody around you will watch this, and I pray that you will help me and my family, my boys, my sweet boys, who deserve to be back with their daddy. And that's all I can say. Please, Mr. President, bring Cory and Skyler back home to me, to their father, and let them heal. Let our family be back together again. I don't want to get graphic more than has already gotten graphic about what my sons have been through. I don't want to have to say anything more publicly, but I've had to do this because enough is enough, and you're the only one. Please, Mr. President, bring my boys back home to me. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your family, your administration, your whole team, everybody around you, that you might be protected. And may the minds and hearts of the world open up and listen to what you're saying, as they're already doing. The politicians, they're wising up. They're all listening to what's right, to what needs to be done. And if there's any role I can play, I am as loyal will get. And if you ask Garrett Ziegler, if you ask and look in the European mainstream media, when I was on Italian national TV fighting for you and proving the election fraud, I don't know what else to say. The website is there, pleasemrpresident.com. My name is Neal David Sutz. I am the father of Cory and Skyler, two American boys unlawfully and abusively detained in Geneva, Switzerland for nearly 8 years. My boys need to come home. Whatever I can do, whatever you want me to do. I'm asset rich and cash poor now after all these years, and the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that have been spent on the legal costs. Whatever I need to do, whatever I need to say, however it needs to happen, my boys need to come home. Please, Mr. President. Please, Mr. President. Thank you. My phone number, my email. And of course, since you're the President of the United States, it's not that hard, clearly, for you to figure out where I am. And I have no problem disclosing that to you or anybody on your team. I clearly won't put out the address of this apartment in public. Putting out my phone number and my email clearly is enough publicly. But I'm here. I'm in DC. I'm in Georgetown. And I came for help from the only man in the world that can do it. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a strong and powerful and successful day today, as the world leaders outside the United States continue to listen to what you're saying, to what you're demanding, and wake up to the fact that woke is done, and the wars are done, and things need to change in this country. And you're the man. You are the man to do it. There is no question about it. I started Switzerland for Trump. I was criminally charged for starting a pro-Trump foundation back in Switzerland. I love Switzerland. I really do. Most of Switzerland, and most of the people I met in the LDS church, I love them too, and they all know it. And the people that turned away, they turned away for whatever reason. I know the truth. God knows the truth. The truth is on paper, photograph, audio, and video. I pray the truth gets to you, and I pray it gets to you quickly. God bless you, Mr. President, you, your family, as I said, your children, your grandchildren, the First Lady, your full administration. May you be protected in all ways. And I pray that you will have somebody get in touch with me very quickly so we can settle this affair and bring my boys back home to America, where they were born. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.